Welcome back to r/Reddit stories. We have a full story today. What can I do to get a feeling of justice after my nephew locked me out of the apartment, rented from my bro's ex-wife for a decade and kept most all I owned? First, I have to say I took them to civil court when the police told me that was my only option. But the judge strangely said I did not prove my case. Over a year ago, my bro's ex-wife, my landlord for a decade, evicted me under false pretenses. We called each other family, and it didn't register on me, BC, I believed them. They stated I was too messy, came by with their truck and flatbed trailer, demanded to give them most of what I owned. Then, after I refused, they evicted me. They said they'd change the locks, and because I had no written lease, they could do whatever. I contacted the Department of Health. A senior and disabled specialist came by, said the claim of my cleaning standards was nonsense, that they could not lock me out, it being illegal. I told them the ex-wife landlord and her newer husband came by, banged and kicked on the door, threatening me with revenge. My mail, as was any mail delivered to the Four family, stopped for 2 months, though I didn't get much, so I didn't really notice. Two other apartments were initially left vacant. The upstairs neighbor moving after being there 2+ decades, and then a realtor's lockbox was on the outside door, but they told me I could stay. I am 55, disabled, cannot drive, poor, and had had COVID and lost 30+ pounds. So I got a new AP, my nephew helping me, I did okay. 40+ attempts later, I got one in a dangerous part of St. Louis. The day I was going to meet the new landlord, sign the lease and get my keys, my nephew came by, asked to use them to start packing. He acted like he did not support his parents' unkindness toward me. I called the next day we were supposed to meet and start moving. He canceled. Then again, every day I both called and emailed him. Then, after 30 days, he tried to misrepresent the law, saying that because my belongings were there 30 days, it became theirs. He started threatening me with making a harassment charge if I contacted them again and did so on Facebook. I am passive and quiet, grew up in a difficult home, and am afraid of conflict, but I confronted them face to face and their husband tried to beat me up. I thankfully took a sleeping bag, laptop, and 2 changes of clothing, since that was basically all I had of my things. I lost my meds, glasses, inhalers, personal documents, my family photos, not just stuff. I have struggled with deep, even dangerous lows of depression I won't go into. I slept on the floor 2 months before I could even get by an air mattress. I begged for my parents' photos, medicines, and he told me to go check the dumpsters. He emailed me hatefully, tauntingly, telling me how much he loved the big TV and sports memorabilia collection he stole as my given Christmas presents. He has bipolar disorder, but that's not an acceptable excuse. His parents are pretty well off, have $1 million+ worth of property, the Four family worth $500,000 now. My couple friends wanted to break into the building to get my stuff, but I wouldn't go along with it. 4 months ago during the court hearing, they stated most of it was still in the apt, and that was all I wanted was my things, but the judge didn't ask them if I could have it back. It's a crime called a self-help eviction, and that they refuse to allow me in to just get my things is another crime. I get less than $1,000 a month on SS and disability, and my rent is $680. And after bills, I have about $50 left. I love my nephew, and because my brother was an innocent deadbeat father, a drug addict and career criminal, I felt that from the day he was born, I needed to be there. He used to sometimes say, "Uncle D, I wish you were my dad instead." Most holidays and birthdays he had as a boy I put together, my late parents unwell, alcoholics and depressed, who found celebrating holidays often too anxiety-ridden and depressing to do. I don't know what to do, and I keep feeling if I internalize the pain and suffering any longer, it will destroy me. Any ideas? Someone has commented, "Heartbreaking OP. Don't see any obvious legal avenues, but revenge, if you're so inclined, should be meted carefully. Don't implicate yourself. And over time, go for the slow burn." Someone else said, "This all could have been avoided by using your brain. You can't trust any of those shitbirds. You shouldn't have opened your door to him. Him getting in and looking you out is so illegal and ridiculous, you should have called the cops. Adult Protective Services, everyone." Op has responded, "Thank you for listening and your feedback." A long response here. I did call the police twice. They told me each time that they don't deal with landlord-tenant issues. My nephew was telling me he supported me and said his parents were being unkind and unfair. He helped me find the new apartment, gave a good reference to the new landlord, and drove me to first check it out. I cannot drive. and again said he was going to help me move, saying his intent coming by as I was leaving was to start packing. He bringing his family's large truck with an attached flatbed trailer. We've been really close since he was a baby. His mom and stepdad came to that previous apt and banged and kicked on the door threatening me, and he really came off later when we talked about it that he felt it was way out of line. He'd later find perverse pride with the dig, saying how he played me for a fool, what a dumb fox I was, and taunting me with saying he either threw away, sold, or was using my things, thanking me for the Christmas gifts. This is, or maybe I have to say now, was my family, and up until they evicted me, we were calling each other family. I was there a decade, never an issue, never late with the bills, we'd see each other for Christmas and give each other small gifts. I agree, though, that in the four family, with two empty apartment when in St. Louis, it's tough to find a decent place. And when I found out the other tenants, there over 20 years, were leaving, it should have registered. All that month after I moved out, we would talk most every day. And every day I sent emails asking when, and he would say, can't that day, but day after tomorrow at, don't worry, my word is as good as gold. Your stuff can't be left here, so of course I will help you move, and we'll get it cleaned out. I'm 55, he's 33, and I've been in his life all that time. We never even argued. I love him very much, and he seemed so sincere. I begged for my glasses so I could see, my meds, inhalers, and he hatefully told me, maybe you'll die, you're worthless, and good riddance. Go kill yourself and put everyone out of their misery. He threatened me with a harassment charge. His dad tried to attack me, and they were really aggressive, and it made me really even a little scared. I paid about 2/3 of what the apartment rent should have been, though it was run down, and he said I owed them and countersued for $5,000. To my request for the property to be returned, or they pay me that amount. The judge said neither of us proved our complaint. I know I'm a fool and was played and ignored red flags, trusting them and not my intellect and reason. Losing most everything, I lost all the photos of my parents and other photos and mementos, my personal documents, my mom's jewelry I was hanging on to until I needed money, my dad's watches, easily worth $5,000, my dad's 2 war medals, even my dead dog's ashes in an urn. I needed my meds, my inhalers, things I got mailed to the apt, so I didn't get them for 2 months until they sent it to my new address. My glasses I have to pay for, despite being on Medicare. They knew all this, and the more I asked, no, begged, the more it served their wish to get revenge. I never had an argument with his mother either until the eviction. I never asked them for anything. To drive me anywhere, I have to take the bus because I'm legally blind. One person commented, your submissiveness is your biggest enemy. I understand you've dealt with trauma that contributed to it, but damn man, you've got to be able to stand up for yourself if you're all you have. What's your view? Leave a comment below.